Hello everyone. Just want to do this quick video right quick about this guy right here with his outrageous personality, the egregious things he says about people. I'm trying to figure out, how is this man a plug? This man, I don't know. The things he have said about Laker Nation, the things he've said about Magic Johnson, this is an internal problem that have nothing to do with no one else and no one else concerned. I understand this is new wordy. That's why even me doing a thing. But I am so sick and tired of seeing this person claiming to be a plug for the NBA. I'm trying to figure out, how do these guys like him, get the information they have? Who is leaking that? Are they getting it from general managers, from bus boys or something? Do anybody question or challenge his credibility or his sources? How all of a sudden they just make up these job descriptions like analysts and all this other stuff, and no one even check these people's credentials, all because they have a gift of gab or they think they know. But if he was in another persuasion, people would challenge everything. But then when it comes to, like, let's say for instance, like even Stephen A. Smith. Now Stephen A. Smith been in the game a lot longer than this guy. But for somehow, some way, I would give you that people would challenge Stephen A. Smith, but they don't challenge him. What do he know about the NBA that Stephen A. Smith doesn't know? Because I've seen him get on talk shows, The Jump, anything concerning the NBA or Sports Center. He's front and center, act like he undercuts everybody's story and everybody else's opinion and everybody else's sources. Like his source is the only source. His opinion is the only opinion. And I understand everybody to some degree, you got to sell yourself and be marketable. I get that. I'm not picking on him. I'm just stating out the obvious. I'm trying to figure out how this man, assuming that his sources are correct, which I highly doubt, the character assumptions that he have made about Magic Johnson. Number one, he probably never had a conversation with Magic. Magic probably would never have a conversation with a bottom-feeding journalist like him. Two, the way he come at people, everybody that know of him, that on social media, and I'm going to leave them alone because they have to work with this person, don't like this guy. And in fact, most of the people who encounter don't like this guy. But somehow, somewhere, he ends up on TV anyway because he's been one of those LeBron. Now he's coming after LeBron. Now he's challenging Magic Johnson's credentials. Rob Pelinka was a sports agent. But for somehow, some way, he gets not the scapegoat. I thought that was the general manager's position. So basically, they just gave Rob Pelinka a job that he really didn't have to earn or work for. How did he get that job? Because he was Kobe Bryant's agent. How did he keep the job after that? And the problem was, Magic wanted to get rid of him. Magic wanted to clean house with Luke Walton and the coaching staff. He wanted to press the nuke button. Jeannie Buss did not want that. She was cool even letting go Walton, Luke, or even the coaching staff. But when it came to Rob Pelinka, that was the sticking point. Because Rob Pelinka, for what I hear, see, I don't work for these agencies, so I can just tell it what it is. He was undercutting Magic Johnson because Magic Johnson's a billionaire, or close to it. And he have businesses upon businesses, and he's a busy man. In fact, majority of the player of basketball operations don't even have Magic Johnson's credentials, let alone his clout or his money. So let's get that out the way. Jeannie Buss knew exactly who she hired because she knows Magic Johnson. So while all of a sudden a person who got this job solely because he's Kobe Bryant's agent, with no credentials, no experience, but somehow, someway he keeps his job, and here is Magic Johnson with the credentials that he have in basketball, now all of a sudden people want to come off and say he's an idiot. You see the pattern in that? And people come at Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas. You see the pattern in that? You see the pattern. And I'm going to leave that for your imagination. But at the same time, you get people like Wojciechowski and this guy saying that they the end all or be all. But when it comes down to everyone, you know what I mean, that's been in the basketball, played the basketball game, NBA, been in around a lot longer than them, and all of a sudden they're not credible, but this guy's credible. I'm trying to figure out who plugging this guy. For real, for real. Because he must be giving him 80% of his salary if he knows anything. But again, that's because the obvious reasons they would talk to him quicker than they would talk to a Stephen A. Smith. As accomplished and as polished as Stephen A. Smith is, that is the fact of reality. Because you cannot tell me this guy who should be on the treadmill no more than Stephen A. Smith or Magic Johnson. And then the thing is, people take his word as gold, like his opinion really matters. So that's why I said, even on the jump and all the associations concerning the ESPN, his book, I read some of it, didn't buy it, because I knew it was a bunch of biased BS that anybody that was a blogger or anybody who followed LeBron James or anything that matter can figure that out. He didn't really say anything about nothing. A lot of stuff he was talking about was circumstantial. A lot of stuff he was talking about had nothing to do with LeBron as a person. It was all about his walk and stuff. But I get it. If you care about those things, you would do that. But like I said with Magic, I'm glad he did that. In my opinion, he should have did this a lot sooner. In my opinion, because he had an effective roster. And what I mean by defective, he had guys who couldn't shoot. He had guys on one-year contracts. He had guys that was just not a mix or a challenge for that. And even though all of those things was a problem, they made it work because of LeBron James. Now he got a lot of defective stars on their roster, injury. Brandon Ingram going on with his, health issues, But this guy right here, the things he's saying about Magic is just crazy, man. Just crazy. I mean, seriously. Tone it down, dude, because you're coming off as a hater. You're coming off talking about it didn't work or it didn't matter in the 80s. So what does matter, Brian Windhorst? What does matter? Did anybody tell you that what you should be doing? Get on the treadmill, Brian. For real, for real. Stop eating the snacks. But somehow, some way, you get on the air and you just attack people. Character. So, again, you can do your job, be an analyst, and be strict and stern without being insulting. That's why I'm not trying to feed into that either, because it's so easy, because of the things he says doesn't make sense. Then he said about Jeannie Buss. Listen here, man. Majority of the owners of the NBA had those franchises because of businesses of their parents, one way or the other. What he talking about NFL? What he talking about baseball, basketball? They had a business or they inherited a team, so they didn't have to work for it, especially in the NFL. Majority of those guys inherited those teams. You know what I mean? Majority of these guys have bought the team, the NBA, when it was, $100 million. Now it's, 20 times worth more than that? So again, Laker Nation, in my opinion, you guys in a sinking ship, because now since everybody know how things are being ran in Laker Town, now you understand why they can't draw or get anybody. Now you know aesthetically why it stinks in there. And all of a sudden, they're trying to say Luke Walton's the golden child. Why? Because he had a superstar Hall of Fame roster, and he subbed it for Steve Kerr, in my opinion, who never deserved that job in the first place. But now, since he wanted to get rid of him, now all of a sudden that's a deal breaker. But then you're going to keep an inexperienced general manager in Rob Pelinka, and he get to stay? I don't blame Magic. Because in my opinion, as a player black basketball operation, someone who has delivered 5 championships, a man who has money, clout, and doesn't really need this business-wise, he went back to the Lakers simply because he loved Laker Nation. He loved the Lakers. He loved the fan base. But he know as being an executive, because the team stinks, they're not going to look at him the same way. They're not going to treat him the same way, because why? They want the team to win. The problem is nobody's going to play with LeBron. Nobody's going to play with their roster. Nobody want to play for Jeannie Buss. Nobody want to play for Luke Walton. People do not believe in Luke Walton. Nobody does. You ask anybody, what do they think of Luke Walton? Nothing. The gift of gab, yes, he may know things about X and O's, but remember, he's a journeyman gas station attendant. So all of a sudden, you're going to try to tell me he's an elite coach now? Stop it. Next, you're going to tell me that the Miami Heat coach, Spoelstra, Eric Spoelstra, and remember that? You see the pattern. So it's more about the players than it's ever going to be about the coach or the organization or people who's talking about the team. So if you have the players, the only thing as a coach or organization is just to not lose it. It's just to manage it. It's to be a leader of men. But when you're not a leader of men, that's the problem you have as a coach. Because do you honestly believe that it really mattered with the roster of Golden State Warriors? Does it really matter? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I can coach that team and they'll be in the finals. That makes no difference. Now, if you're talking about like the Chicago Bulls roster, then yeah, then you're probably going to take an effect of coaching. But when it comes to elite players, very little, marginal at best. Only thing you're doing is managing personalities and managing egos, and you're executing to a certain degree of what you should do. That's it. Other than elite roster, you're not doing that. So again, this is what we all have to understand. Brian and all these guys need to tone it down. Stop acting like you a plug. Stop acting like you know what it is, because you don't. You way off, and if you watch yourself and listen to yourself talk, you will stop yourself. And that's all I have to say, man. You're not a plug, dude. You're not.